Dun dun. So of course we had to come to Chick-fil-A because you know who I'm with. It's Law.
Do you want something to drink? We got water, I got beer. I have ice cream.
You do? Why?
Yeah. Because it's summer, why not?
Okay.
So, I have like this kind of ice cream.
Ooh.
And this kind of ice cream, and I've got apparently floor ice cream now.
Oh, I think I like floor one.
You want the floor one?
Yeah.
You want the drumstick? It may be cracked though. You
Chocolate?
Want yeah, you do.
Which one you got?
I think they're all the same.
Vanilla? Oh, can I get vanilla?
Yeah, what did you get?
Chocolate.
What was it? Oh, you want vanilla?
Sorry, I don't mean to be picky.
No, hey, I don't, if you're racist that way. Make sure I got water and I've got beer. Water and I've got IPA and Modelo. I've got some fancy beer.
Yeah, you're fancy today.
Yeah, not fancy every day. All right, you ready for the big surprise?
Yeah.
All right, let's go over here. Milz, right there. It actually looks pretty cool. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
We'll do the big reveal.
The big reveal?
Yeah, you want to get this on now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You tell me when you're ready.
It's been ready.
Oh, it's been ready? It's like you're ready to fire? Okay, ready?
No.
So you see how, like, it's not all white? It's sort of it burnt through a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks like it's handwritten. It's not gonna come off. That's the way that it looks like it was magic marker. Yeah. Like I couldn't do that again if I tried.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
The before.
Yeah, so we're gonna take this off. So
you're gonna be in the vlog, Sammy.
I want to be in the vlog.
Do you have anything to say to the vlog?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, other than I'm too much of a Santa Claus to be this far forward. I have to keep my legs wide, keep my belly in there. Is that on the vlog? Is that good to admit that to the world? That COVID and my kids have made me drink a lot, and now I'm even fatter than I was before. All right. Whoa, wait, where did that come from? Why is there two of them down there?
I don't know.
Oh, I know why.
That's a good ice cream.
Where's the other one? Okay, well, we know where that came from, and we know where that's there. Oh, I know one. There it is.
Yeah, I installed them on Saturday. My wolf.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank you. So it's pretty easy to install.
Yeah.
So you have the laser here?
Uh-huh, right there. Okay, so notice how I don't tighten the screws all the way down?
Okay. So
You never...
down?
No, I will tighten them down, but you never, like, if one screw's super loose, the other screw's like super tight, you never crank this one down to super, super tight and then crank this one down. Because this one's already lifted the other one up. Like, you gotta do a little bit, to get them to be balanced. Otherwise the tension's not right. And that's with every screw. Everything has two screws in it. Specifically for wheelchair rugby. These are made for tennis. This is like a $60 pair wheel. This is a $180 pair wheel. They're made in Japan. This is a tire, an inner tubeless solid tires, so you don't ever have to change it. They don't get flat.
That's cool.
But they're soft, so you can feel it. Feel how soft this is. So you won't like it because when they're just soft, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like pushing through like sand. But you don't have to change the tire ever. There's no inner tubes. There's none of that stuff, right? With the vinyl coated ones, if you cut it, they will like peel all the way off. Have you seen that? Have you had that yet?
No.
Where they peel. So you are just way more delicate. I don't have any examples of ones up there.
But I did see like a little thing, like kind of scraping, like a tiny little.
Right, but most people, they don't last a year. They completely
really?
peel off. Yeah, because they bang up against shit and whatever.
I didn't know.
So we came up with a coated hand rim. We call these pretty ugly hand rims. So the first attempt was, can we make something that everyone else makes? So this is what everyone else makes. Now feel that? And feel hers. Okay? So hers is less friction. This is more friction. This is more grippy, right? But this has the same problem that has, which is the moment you get a cut in it, it starts to peel off. So, I mean, it's cool that it's purple, but no one wanted purple. It's just like a tester, right? So then we developed, a friend of mine makes custom race car steering wheels. And he uses bed liner, so feel that?
What?
Yeah, so that's bed liner off of a truck. So it's cool and it's super hard and you can't cut through it and all that other stuff, but it's still not enough friction. Now, this is ours. Feel that?
Oh,
super sticky. Milz, you want to get in on that. Super sticky. It's an irregular surface and it's super sticky. And the secret. So don't tell the camera.
Okay.
But the no. You can no.
Well, you can't tell me. Don't tell us a secret, and then I'm like this close.
So the secret is that so when you get a cut in these, because the metal is super hard and the rubber is not, the urethane is not, then it doesn't create a really strong bond, right? So then that's why it peels off. So what we do is we use tape, a certain special type of tape that's cloth-based tape, so that the urethane soaks into the cloth, and the cloth has fibers running through the whole thing. So when you cut it, it prevents it from going all the way around. And I'll show you one that. So some of our clients have orthotics, meaning they have plastic instead of a hand. They have a hand cover, and that plastic will just cut into these. And I'll show you these. I'll show you one that's been on for over a year, and it barely has any cuts in it. Super durable, super long term. So we call these pretty ugly hand rims, and we hand make them. We paint them with the rubber material, like an everyday chair. But when you start looking at the way that it looks from the front and from the top, that's a much more complex chair, right? So this chair has an 18-degree camber. So that means that the wheels are tilted 18 degrees, whereas Milz probably has a 2-degree camber, and we do a lot of 0 and 1-degree cambers. And the reason why is the bigger you are, the less camber you want, so you can get in and out of doorways.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. And so in a sports chair, it's the exact opposite. You need a wide base, because if you're up here throwing a ball or trying to catch a ball, you need a wide base in case you flip backwards. A sports chair also has 4 casters. So these are 2 in the front, and these are 2 in the back. And if you notice, the 2 in the back are totally different than the 2 in the front. So what normally you do is you have all 4 of them the same, and if you want to adjust what's called the rock, how much you move back and forth, you have to put washers in and out, take the fork out. It's a big pain in the ass. So what we did was we designed a system where you just unscrew 2 bolts, and you can slide the shaft up and down and adjust it. Super important in tennis. In tennis, you play on tennis courts, you play on grass, and you can play on clay, and all of those have different, for lack of a better term, less smooth. Like a court is super smooth, but a grass court is kind of like that, and a clay court's kind of like that. So you need to add more rock to compensate. Otherwise, all 6 wheels are going to be on the ground, and you can't move very well. And so, to be able to do that with 2 screws is a tiny little feature that's huge for a tennis game. But see how big and wide this chair is? This chair is going to be huge. And then the other things is that basketball is a contact sport, so you have to put a picker on, meaning you have to put a guard in the front. So what we do is we design all of that in the computer. Say, okay, those are supports. That's where we want everything for the user. Like we take custom measurements for everybody, and then we have the computer then spits out a guide to us bending and cutting the tube. So every tube, the computer says, needs to be a certain length. It needs to be bent a certain way.
That's so cool.
And all the tubes, aluminum, all metal, has something called spring back. So if you bend something 90 degrees, it will not be 90 degrees. It'll be less than 90 degrees because the tube metal wants to go back to its original state, unless you heat it up or pour it, whatever, unless it's molten, right? So because it's cold, then we bend to 90 degrees. To get to 90 degrees, we may have to bend to 100 and some degrees to get to 90.
Okay.
So the computer, we do all of the measurements up front with our tools, plugged into the computer, and the computer tells us, oh, for this one, that's the number, bend to it. And that's what we do. And so that we can create, so symmetry is super important in a wheelchair. Everything on one side has to mirror the other. And when you hand build a chair, without this kind of stuff, you're relying on your eye and to make it symmetrical, and it's almost never symmetrical. And so this allows us to increase the quality of the chair and decrease the amount of waste. So this entire chair here is in that box. Those are all the tubes that belong to that chair.
It.
Yeah, it's a lot compared to the other chairs. This is the sports chairs are about twice as much material as an everyday chair. And a lot more engineering goes into a sport chair. Because it just is under a lot more pressure. So this, we want it to be light, but also tough enough where he could play basketball. Basketball, is contact sport. Tennis is not. There's no contact in tennis. And I mean, if you have contact in tennis, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. Right. So that makes the sports chair much more complex. This is the same. So all of my staff, I'm the only able-bodied member. So we're all disabled, but I'm the only able-bodied, right? So my disabilities are cognitive, and my disabilities are cognitive. And so Rob, remember how I said that one? I know I'm jumping around, but that has been a year, and that's the biggest gouge that's out of it.
Oh, okay.
And he ran right into one of the warehouse shelves, straight in at full blast, and that's the worst that it made. So Rob is in a chair. This is his old chair, and they don't make. That's what a welding table is for. That's what you buy a welding table as. They don't make them for people with disabilities. So we had to make our own. We took a motorcycle lift, and we built a custom lift for the table so that Rob can work on it and I can work on it too. So this is part of a custom jig system. This thing took us like 4 months. This is the third version of the jig that we made. This one is the sports version. This one is the jig, and they just, by the way, slide on and off.
Okay.
For the everyday.
Okay.
So you see how small this is and how light this is. There's a lot less material. This jig is not even fully done yet, and because of all the support beams, every time there's a tube, there has to be a support for it. Otherwise, they get out of balance. If you do it by eye, it gets out of balance. So what most people do is they go, boop, that looks level, boop. Yeah, that's not how we operate. We use electronic leveling devices. We cut to precision. That's the next thing. So what most people do in the industry, if they're going to weld something, most people take a tube and they put it up next to another tube and they weld, right? You see that big gap? That's all metal that they're filling in there. Now, the weld is strong, but it's a lot of extra metal. We don't do that. We measure every angle, we cut it, so a lot less weld, right? So this all goes, it's one of those little things that all goes to quality. So when we weld, it really reduces like a pound or two of weight off of the chair, just in welding, to be able, just to do this. So we designed all of our stuff raises and lowers so that someone in a wheelchair can do all of the work. Like Rob, even the bender. So Rob cuts and bends everything in a wheelchair, and basically we don't need any able-bodied people to build wheelchairs. It's all disabled bodies that build wheelchairs, even the bender. So this bender right here, most tube benders are horizontal because most places don't have a huge roof that they can move, right? So we had to custom build this bender, and it's at wheelchair height, so that someone in a wheelchair could see exactly the right angle as they're making the bend. So this is all custom built, so that someone in a wheelchair can do it. So it starts with a table, it starts with a computer to know exactly what we're doing, and then goes to the right cutting, then it goes to the right bending, then it goes to the right jigging, and then Rob sets it. When Rob says it's done, then I come through and I tack weld it, and then we take it off the jig, and then we have a commercial welder charge, and it holds on there, and then you bake it on. You actually heat it, and so because it sort of encapsulates it, it just makes a stronger bond to the aluminum, and so powder coating is pretty ideal for aluminum, and so they all have to be prepped. We got to drill holes for seats. We got to take off anything that all these lines that look bad, all that's got to be taken off. Any weld that doesn't look great, we have to polish it out. So this all gets stripped. We trim these down to the right length. So there's a bunch of work that happens before we go to paint. Then so that's prep, right? So that's this station right here. So this station right here has got grinders and whatever on it, and we just prep. We clean off the thing, ready, prepping for paint, right? Mm-hmm. And we do it right here. This is the assembly table, and then we have another one that we swap out for the prep table. So we prep, it goes out for paint, we come back, and it needs to be assembled. So all these parts, like forks, and these are forks, and fasteners, and bolts, and all this other stuff that need, wheels and casters and all that stuff all goes on it during assembly. So then that's what produces the chair that's underneath there. So those are all the stations. Now the whole idea is that anyone in a wheelchair can do any of the stuff. Yeah. Like notice nothing is my height, right? But those can be popped up to be my height. So every table in here, other than this one can be raised and lowered. We have to take the bolts out, so this is like a one-time deal. Yeah. So this is the one that's set for a wheelchair. But every other table here can be raised and lowered by simply hand crank it. And it can be raised all the way up to standing. They're all standing desks. So I did the upholstery on this. I sewed this up and made this back cover for this client, for Adam. Mm-hmm. And I did it standing right here on that table. So this is, I got a little sewing machine over here. I'm a little silver. So we went to the manufacturer who makes these for most of the people in the industry, and we said, hey, did anyone ever tell you why you're making these wheels? And they said, no. And we said, can we tell you why? And they said, yeah, we were totally interested. And I said, this is the problem that we're trying to solve. We're trying to make it super hard so it doesn't grab. Like a softer wheel will grab in, and you don't want that when the wheel's way out here. If it's an inline skate, that's perfect, but if it's way out on the outside, you don't want it to grab as you're making the turn because you're going to fight the grab all the way around, right? So we said, okay, we want it for wood floors, we want it to be super fast, and we want it to be super hard. This thing super rounded. And so a lot of it touches when you're making the turns, but this is what's called a knife blade wheel. See how it comes to a point? Very little of this wheel touches the ground when you're making a turn. So very little of it is having an impact as you're making your turn, so it's super, super fast. And it's super hard so it doesn't grab the ground, and we put our own custom bearings in here, and these bearings have got the best grease in them that money can buy for this application. The same grease it uses in Tour de France bikes are what we use in these wheels, so they last forever, they go for a really long time, and they're super fast. And everyone says to me, I want a different color than purple. And I say, great, I can give you any color if you want, if you buy 3,000 of them.
Thank you for watching my video, guys. See ya. Don't wanna be ya.